How you doing? My name's Dave, and this is another episode of my Kerbal Space Program career mode playthrough. I got a whole pile of mission or science from the last mission to the moon. Cheated a little bit with the quick save and the quick load, but I'm wondering if I should have sent a rescue mission after Bob, or just let him die after my attempts. But I really did not want to give up that science and have to go through all of that again to go and get more science. And it's a game. So I'm just going to live with it. So we discussed building a space station and launching it into orbit around Kerbin. So we have several more command pods. So for our space station, we're going to use this large 3-man pod. So I'll build a space station and then bring you back in when it's complete. Okay, so this is the Centurion 2. I don't know why I picked that name, it just sounded good. Another asparagus staged rocket with booster stages to help us out in the ascent. Have it saved, and one thing I'm going to do is sub-assemblies. Sub-assemblies is this launcher. When I get new parts, I haven't used sub-assemblies because I keep getting new parts and adding more parts and stuff. But if you have a launcher that you want to try and reuse, we'll reuse this one once or twice. You can pick it up and drop it in the sub-assembly zone. So we'll call this our medium launcher. And save it. So now, whenever I build a rocket, I can come in here and pull out a medium launcher and attach it, and it's all set up. So on occasion you have to redo the staging. So these are my 2 little boosters. Staging and the fuel tanks, or the fuel lines, sometimes get wonked out. So yeah, you can see we have some sort of artifact there, and then of course our struts at the top need to be redone. Where'd it go? I think I had it down a little bit too low. So, but now I can build different payloads and use the same launcher without having to rebuild it each time. So hopefully this one works as intended. So our crew, what did I tell you? Jeb made it back really quick. So we have all these empty seats. So let's save this one and see if we can go back here. Full complement of crew. So we'll hire Dungus and Dunsel and Dunford. Tompby and Barner. And I think that'll give us a whole crew. So back to the vehicle assembly building. Should still have our... I can go to my crew manifest and start loading them up. We'll leave one open slot. So now they're going to launch in these, but that's okay. That'll save us the trouble of sending several missions up to staff them. But we will send up some missions because I have no science parts save the antenna on this rocket. I'm going to go to my action groups and my custom action group. I think I'm simply gonna set the solar panels to toggle. And then we'll have our space station. So I'll save that and go to launch. A Duna mission in this space station. So throttle up, SAS on, and launch. We'll unlock our resources. These small solid boosters, although I stage them like that so the large engines and tanks can be asparagus staged, but I can adjust the thrust on these when I'm building and set these to burn for a shorter amount of time. I'll get less thrust, but then they'll burn for a much shorter amount of time. And I'm going to run out of solid rocket fuel before liquid, it looks like. So I'm going to get those and stage those. So we should have enough fuel and thrust to get our space station into orbit. Stage those two. We'll turn on our lights. That will illuminate our station. I'll turn them off for now. I did slap a bunch of batteries on there and I have plenty of solar panels. It doesn't appear that I have enough thrust for the amount of junk that I attached to this, because I did put a lot of stuff on it, solar panels and all kinds of stuff. I probably should have planned it out better. This might be another funky do launch like the last moon mission with our lander. So, but it's a fun That's the fun of this game, is that you put a rocket together and you see if it works. And if it doesn't work, you just go back to the drawing board. So let's see. There we are on our launch through the clouds. When we have our space station, when I launch the next mission to the space station, I'll add the city lights part of the cloud mod, and you can see the city lights down on the planet as well. So I don't think I have quite enough speed to start my gravity turn just yet. I need a little bit more speed. We're about to lose our next stage as they drop back down onto the Space Center. So these skipper motors, they run pretty good. I'll start doing a slight gravity turn. And try and keep our rocket going up still. I don't want the prograde to drop too far down, or I might not be able to recover from that. But I want to get in a pretty high orbit with this one. I'm looking at 120 meters, I think. But I almost want to get into like a geosynchronous orbit, where the orbit is the same speed as my orbit is the same speed as the planet's rotation, so I kind of hover around the same area. But let's see, the geosynchronous orbit is 2,868,000 meters above the surface of the planet. So we're out of the thickest part of the atmosphere. Plenty of fuel. I put the little poodle motor and a fuel tank on the space station just to have something to adjust my orbits with. So we're still climbing really good. Lots of fuel in our third stage. It says 4, but it counts it from the top down, because that's how you build. So when that hits 2300, I'll know that I achieved some kind of orbit. So right there, that altitude gets us out of the atmosphere, but I'm going to continue to accelerate until I reach 2,868,000 meters. It seems like quite a lot. But you can see our whole crew all fat and happy. Those guys don't even have their helmets on. They have a lot of confidence. Jeb's clone, once again commanding the rocket. So I'll stop at about 105 and rotate my rocket over just a bit. I'll get into orbit and then I can adjust my orbit a little bit easier instead of trying to make the entire climb up to my orbital altitude. So I can time accelerate. Oh, almost went too fast with that one. And I'll throttle up to give me just a little bit more control. And go to full throttle. And I'll angle my nose up just a bit as we catch the sunset behind Kerbal. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset. All right, I'll stop. And we're doing just fine on our altitude. We'll need less speed the higher the altitude. You go faster the closer you are to the surface of the planet. We can bring that apoapsis up, but it's not very fuel efficient. Like I said, I over-engineer all the time, so I'm not particularly fuel efficient. But there's our lights. They'll light up the capsule. And these lights shine outwards at the docking crafts. So we're still at 98,000 meters. I believe I have enough fuel to get where I need to be. 2,800,000 meters. See, my apoapsis is now coming back as I'm starting to climb again. I'm pointing my nose. I'm almost pointing straight up from the planet in order to maintain my altitude. And then I can rotate back over and add that to my horizontal velocity. There we go. Saw the camera change that says that we're in orbit. We're going to continue to burn until that reads 2,800,000 meters. Is that right? 2 million? And that should put me in a geosynchronous orbit. So I should kind of just hover above the planet, the same spot on the planet. For some reason that doesn't seem right, but maybe it is. 2, 3, that's halfway to the moon. 8. So we'll add another maneuver there to get this periapsis right about there. I'm probably turning the wrong way. Yeah, some sort of indicator just on the edge of the screen to show you which way to turn for your maneuver node would be handy. If you're spinning, if you're not accelerating, if you just tap the time accelerate, it'll stop your rotation. So you can kind of stop on those things pretty quick. So we're approaching our maneuver. It's a 31-second burn. And I overshot it, but I can probably recover pretty easily. I am having some sort of issue. Oh, that stage is gone. So we'll leave that stage behind. And have a lot of debris up here. There's the planet way down there. We can extend our solar panels on our space station. And time accelerate on our maneuver node. There's a physics, let's see, 27, 28. And there we go. We're pretty close to it. I can fine tune it as we go. But Centurion 2 is now in outer space. You can take a crew report, which I don't know why I continue to do that. So get rid of the user interface and take a screenshot since I'm angled at the sun right. And I think that will end this episode. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.